Hey everybody, Stevie J from AngryMarks.com. If I look a little under the weather, it's because I am, but that didn't stop me from watching about 10 hours of fights this week. So let's start with the UFC on FX Sotiropolous versus Pearson card. Opening fight was Hector Lombard versus Husmar Palhares, and Lombard finally got the big win he was looking for. He didn't do so well at UFC 149 in Calgary, but in this case, he managed to hurt Palhares badly late in the first round. Lombard and Palhares went to the ground, and it got back up to the feet with about 152 left to go. Lombard was clearly feeling the striking, though, but it didn't last much longer than that. Palhares got dropped again about 30 seconds later, and the referee went ahead and stopped the fight. Mark Goddard called a stop to the bout. 3:38 of the first round for the winner, Hector Lightning Lombard. In a Tough Smashes lightweight final, that is the Ultimate Fighter that aired in Australia, it was Colin Fletcher versus Norman Park. This one went the full 3 rounds, and Norman Park won the bout 30-27 times 2 and 29-28. He was the smaller man in the fight. They called Fletcher the freak show for a reason. He's like 6'2" and really doesn't look like he should fight at that weight, but he managed to pull it off nonetheless. But Parkus, the smaller guy, just threw him around, took him to the ground. It was a competitive fight, but I would say Park got the better of it. Second fight in the Tough Smashes finale was Robert Whittaker versus Bradley Scott. Whittaker was the Australian fighter, the only one who survived the entire season. Bradley was from Melksham, England. Whittaker came close to finishing this fight a couple of times, but it ended up going all the way to a decision. He got a 29-28 from all three judges. The Australian crowd was very happy about that. Main event was George Sotiropolous versus Ross Pearson, and this one was fairly competitive in the first 2 rounds, but did not last long in the third. Sotiropolous had not been doing very well in the striking department because Pearson was just landing left hooks whenever he wanted to, and in the third round he finally got one about 30 seconds in that dropped him, and Sotiropolous was unable to recover on the ground, and Mark Goddard finally stepped in and stopped it. The official time was 41 seconds of the third round, and that was the first of 3 MMA shows I watched this weekend. The second was Bellator 84. On this event, they were looking to crown a new heavyweight champion, but we started out with Louis Taylor versus Joe Vetipo in a middleweight bout. The tape on Taylor's gloves got messed up for some reason. Vetipo was able to get a reversal on the ground, and when they got stood back up, the referee called for time to take the tape off Taylor's gloves. And maybe that's what he needed, because once they got back to the ground and Taylor was working from guard, he hit him with a right hand to the chin and knocked him out. That's right, from the guard. I guess that's why they call Louis Taylor handguns, because he was sure packing them. Then we had Patricia Vnanik versus Felice Herrig in a 118-pound catchweight women's bout. This one went all 3 rounds. Herrig was never in any trouble. She won 30-27 on a unanimous decision. Vnanik, it was just frustrating to watch because she kept going for takedowns and Herrig kept stuffing every single one of them. I really hate it when a fighter has a one-track mind and won't try something else when it's not working. Third fight of the night was Daniel Vizcaya versus Jack Hermanson in a middleweight bout. This one went the full 3 rounds, but it was a god-awful boring fight to watch. No one ever needs to watch this again, and neither one of these guys ever needs to be in a Bellator tournament. The result of the fight was a split decision, 29-28 Hermanson, 29-28 Vizcaya, and another 29-28 for Vizcaya. Alexander Volkov versus Rich Hale really only had one competitive round, and that was the first. For the rest of the time, and especially in the latter 3 rounds, Volkov was just working his jab and outstriking his opponent, and Richard Hale really had nothing for him. And it seems to be the curse for Richard Hale to always come up short in the finals of a tournament. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride for Richard Hale, who lost a unanimous decision here. It was 49-46 from all 3 judges. Now you may be wondering, What happened to the Marcin Held versus Dave Jansen final? Well, apparently Indiana decided because Held is not 21, you can't have the fight, Bellator. It's canceled. It's really dumb if you ask me. Then we go to the Ultimate Fighter 16 finale, which took place this evening. And good friend Peter H. from AngryMarks.com and Glove Up or Shut Up recapped this entire card. I'm just going to focus on the fights that aired on the FX portion, although a lot of fights did get bonused. Let's start with Jonathan Brookins and Dustin Poirier. Brookins got the better of the fight early on in the first couple of minutes, but then he gets rocked and Poirier goes to the ground with him for a choke. He sinks in the Darce and it's over. 4:15 of the first round for the winner via submission, Dustin Diamond Poirier. After a bonus of the Pichel versus Shabalov fight, which was a pretty sweet fight, I should add. Shabalov won using suplexes. He suplexed Pichel so hard he knocked him out. So definitely worth bonusing. Then they went to Pat Berry versus Shane Del Rosario. It got to the second round, and for a while there, Shane looked like he was getting the upper hand based on his size, but in the second round, Barry just tagged him and sent him staggering backward. He landed 3 straight shots once he saw him backing up. The fourth one knocked him to the ground and ended the fight. 26 seconds of the second round for your winner by knockout. The Tough 16 finals was Colton Smith from America versus Mike Ricci from Canada. Unfortunately, this was not Ricci's night because Smith kept getting him to the ground, kept going for rear naked chokes, kept going for submissions, and Ricci would get in a flurry here and there on the feet, but for the most part, Smith was just bullying him into the fence and grinding him down. He fought a very Randy Couture style fight and won it and got a 30-27 times 2 and even a 30-26, so he gets the 6-figure contract. The main event was a heavyweight bout between Roy Nelson and Matt Mitrione. This one didn't go very long because Roy Nelson found his range and Nelson was getting rocked on the ground once he did, and the ref had to step in to save him. So the winner via TKO, the man introduced as a Kung Fu style fighter, Roy Big Country Nelson. That's it for 3 different fight events that took place on one weekend. Thanks for watching the video. I'm Stevie J.